The Earth is littered with buried treasures patiently waiting to be discovered. When they're found, they can add depth to unanswered questions about the world. However, while they can tell us a lot about human history, the finds can also create more questions than they answer, especially when they're thousands of years old. Such as a knife that looks like it was used by ancient giants. Does that mean giants existed? What's the real story to all these astonishing discoveries? Well, that's what we're going to examine today. To say the Norimitsu Odachi is a large sword would be putting it lightly. Its length comes to 12.37 feet and weighs 13.197 pounds. A typical Odachi blade is far smaller. At their biggest, they're around 6.5 feet in length. The Norimitsu Odachi is so large that many believed only a giant could wield such a weapon. However, until scientists find fossils of giants, that's probably not the case. Instead of being used on the battlefield, scientists believe it's a status symbol for the warriors. It may have also been forged by a swordsmith in order to showcase their outstanding talent. After all, the heat treatment and polishing skills required to make the sword means only the best creators could have achieved this. Usually, an Odachi blade is hung from the ceiling as it's created, so to make the Norimitsu Odachi, it would either require a very tall ceiling or a new technique to be developed for forging. Other theories point at this massive blade being used for ceremonial rituals or as an offering to a shrine's patron gods. Regardless, it's currently on display in the Kibitsu Shrine in the Okayama Prefecture. In 1974, workers were digging a new well near Xi'an, China. They uncovered a large cache of terracotta life-sized army figurines. There were thousands of these individually designed soldiers. There are even clay horses and chariots in the discovery. They very much resemble the army in 2008's The Mummy Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. The soldiers at one point seem to have been painted in bright colors, but have become gray over the centuries. Archaeologists estimate there are 8,000 figurines in the discovered 4 pits, but the reason behind them is uncertain. The main theory is that the army was created to aid the first emperor of unified China, Qin Shi Huang, into the afterlife. He passed away in 221 BC. According to ancient writings, 700,000 workers created the terracotta army. However, before the full amount could be formed, there was an uprising. As a result, the project was unfinished. You can actually see this from the 1974 discovery, as one of the pits were found empty. The writings also discuss the treasure inside Huang's tomb. However, due to the complexity of evacuating the tomb, archaeologists have been unable to enter it yet. We may now have proof that aliens walk amongst us. Well, maybe. In 2016, some coins were discovered during a house renovation in Egypt. On the head of one coin, we can see a figure with large, hollow eyes in the shape of a head that resembles an extraterrestrial. Another coin seems to have an image of a UFO hovering above the ground. The Latin wording scribbled around the coin states, "Opportunus adest." According to reports, when translated, that means it's here in due time. Spooky. Does that mean the aliens are returning? Should we be panicked? Well, no. Probably not. It's speculated that these coins are actually hobo coins. This is a practice that dates back to the 1750s. Coins were made with a softer metal than what we have today. As a result, the coins were used in a sculptured art form, one of which was the well-known potty coin. The original coin image was the United States seated Liberty, but the artists manipulated the seat into a toilet for humorous reasons. Today, hobo coins are a collected commodity. So, more than likely, these recently discovered coins aren't actually alien. In 1975, the first personal computer was released. Or was it? In 1901, an archaeological diving team found loads of treasure from a Roman shipwreck. The discovery was found near the Greek island Antikythera. Amongst the statues and the jewelry was the Antikythera mechanism. This device appeared to be a collection of rusted gears. It was dismissed for 2 years until archaeologist Valerio Status took a look. He realized just how complex it was, but its purpose was unknown. It wasn't until 1959 when the reason for the mechanism was discovered by Derek J. DeSoya Price. Further x-rays of the mechanism in the 70s gave more evidence to Price's revelation. Price theorized the mechanism is an analog computer. Depending on the calendar month, the Antikythera mechanism could determine where the planets, moons, and stars are in the sky. By manipulating the main gear to the date, the smaller gears would turn to indicate the planet's positions. One of the gears even counted down the days to scheduled sporting events like the Olympics. Due to its complexity, scientists are unsure how the ancient Greeks could have even created the Antikythera mechanism. The Cot Shabib was first reported by the British diplomat Sir Alec Kirkbride in 1948. While in a plane in the sky, he looked down and saw the wall running along the country of Jordan. Altogether, this mysterious wall is 93 miles in length, although it was no more than 3.3 feet tall and 1.6 feet wide. Along the walls are the remains of hundreds of ruins in the shapes of towers. The date of its construction is a bit of a mystery. The estimate is somewhere between 312 BC to 750 AD. As for the wall's purpose, that too is a mystery. The towers might be rest areas for hunters. The wall's small height and width give the impression that it wasn't created for defensive reasons. After all, it would only take a decent jump for the enemy to clear the rocky structure. Speculation is the wall was constructed to mark some form of boundary, perhaps between the farmers and pastoralists in ancient Jordan. In order to figure this out, scientists are conducting further aerial archaeology. Speaking of aerial archaeology in Jordan, another project has also required that skill in the country. In 1920, British pilot